Oh, good. People are here.
We'll just give everybody a few minutes to kind of come in, and we'll start in a couple of minutes. Hi, we're just giving some time for people to join, so we'll start here in a second.
Welcome parents too. I know that there's some kiddos that are working at summer camp, so parents are attending instead. That's fine.
I brought a special guest.
Aww.
Good. I was thinking we needed music while we waited, but a cat is better.
Luna's better.
She just woke up, which is why we're being so nice and friendly.
I would introduce my dog, but Molly is very much asleep.
Okay, that's a great. Thank you, Luna. That's a great. Here,
Thank you for your
All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Hi, everybody. I'm Katie McFadden. I'm the director in the College Advisement Center. I'm joined by some colleagues today, Peter, NSO, and Heather Miner, Catherine Leibel, Katie Lemon, and we're going to walk you through today's webinar, Preparing for Course Registration. So this session will be recorded and posted in the next day or so. Katie, Heather, and Catherine are going to help answer in the Q&A throughout the session, and then at the end. We're going to have plenty of time for Q&A. So type your questions as you have them in the Q&A box, and we'll get to it for sure. There will be things I'll be going through in WebAdvisor with Peter's help. And I think sometimes the temptation is to pull up your own WebAdvisor and try to listen to the webinar while you click and do on your own. And I think that can get hard, like you end up missing stuff. So because the recording will be available, I don't know, tomorrow, Friday, like really soon, I'd encourage you to just kind of like absorb and take notes, but not necessarily get into your own WebAdvisor. I think it can get a little confusing. That's just my 2 cents. We are getting very close to August into registration. Registration happens in 2 rounds on August 1st and August 3rd. Everybody participates in both rounds. And this presentation is just designed to help you feel prepared for those registrations. By now, you've hopefully taken your placements if you need to, and set up your emergency contact information. Those 2 things are really important for registration. We're not going to go into details on them in this webinar, but instructions and links for both are in your NSO checklist. Now, Peter, maybe do you mind putting in the chat like a first year and a transfer link to the checklist? If you need to do these things, they are still open, they're still available. You can and should do them. If you're trying to register for a class that requires a certain placement score, it's important to do the placement soon so that there's plenty of time for that score to get entered in the system before registration. Okay. What we're going to spend our bulk of our time on in this webinar is checking your registration time, so you know exactly when you're supposed to be taking action, developing a list of courses if you haven't done that yet, and then putting those classes in a preferred list in WebAdvisor, like a shopping cart. And that, if you do those things, you're going to feel really prepared for registration days. Okay, your start times for registration on the 1st and the 3rd are staggered, and they're randomized. And it's not information that we can access as advisors. So that's why we're going to have to coach you through, like, you're going to have to go into WebAdvisor to check your start time. It's not something I'm able to pull up, for somebody. In WebAdvisor, click Registration Permissions from the student menu in the lower left. That brings up this page where you select the term, which your only listing is probably fall. So you'll click that and hit Submit. And it brings up this little chart. Okay, so this person, the first round of registration, August 1st, this person can start at 10:30 a.m. This is Pacific time. So if you're in a different time zone, you have to Google the calculation, make sure you translate it. On round one, August 1st, first years can register for 1 4 to 5 credit class, and transfers can register for 2 4 to 5 credit classes. The idea here is that we're trying to give everyone access to like one top priority class. On August 3rd, you can register for the rest. First year's transfers, register for the rest. And then August 30th, like if you see this third time, sometimes students ask about that. That's just a day you can make changes during orientation. You should be doing the bulk of your registration on the first, the first and the third. Okay, developing a list of courses. So that's checking your times. Let's talk about developing a list of classes. I think if people are going to feel a little overwhelmed, it's usually like this step. It's, just a lot of options. And of course, you're getting used to a new system and a new college. I think a great place to start is on our website, the College Advising Center website. Under Major Minor Exploration, you can click Getting Started in a Major. And what we've done is ask all the departments, majors and minors, if someone's interested in your area, what should they take it for? What should they start with? So you go through this list, click on your areas of interest, and just kind of like start making a list. So we're going to let's pretend somebody's interested in art history. They click here and note that they recommend starting with Art 100. Or some other courses to consider are these. I think it's a great place to note that sometimes first years assume the only classes they can take are 100 level, but anything with an F in the title, even if it's a 200 level class, is, you can access as a first year student. You could write down all these. Let's say this person's also interested in the Middle East and North African Studies minor. You can kind of click and read more. You note that they're recommending you start with Arabic 101. And some other courses to consider would be religious studies. Again, you can see the 200 level with an Excel for the class of first year students. So you develop this list, and then you can go into WebAdvisor and start putting them in your preferred list in preparation for registration. So here's where I'm gonna partner with Peter. Peter's gonna help out because that way you can see what this looks like in WebAdvisor. If you want to, I'll stop share, Peter. And why don't you go to lower left, register for sections, search and register. And then of course, put in the term, fall 23, yep. And let's put in some of these things I put on my list. So art, Arabic, religious studies. You can put in more limiting, criteria like the level or the days or whatever. I don't know. Do you usually do that, Peter? I feel like WebAdvisor almost works better if I just.
Yeah, I usually just put in a broad swath so you can see everything that's available.
See everything, yeah. Yeah, so you could take those off. So remember, if you put first year on religious studies, we won't get our. Yeah.
Then submit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. So anything that you click the little box for in the far left column, you're like selecting it for your preferred list. So let's pause up there at the Arabic. Arabic 101, there's 2 sections of it. The only difference is like the time, but otherwise that's the same class. So maybe select both. I think it's good to put both in your shopping cart. And Art 100, yep. And you can pause here actually. Let's look at the art 207 and 208. We're on that list of recommendations, but you'll note it says waitlisted. See that in the third column? So that course is already waitlisted, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't waitlist yourself. Like follow Art 207 over to how many students are in it. You kind of highlight, yeah. So there's only one person on that wait list right now. there's no downside to waitlisting yourself for a class. You know, I'd almost recommend putting things like that in the cart. Religious studies, I see that that's 225 down there.
Which one?
Religious studies 225 was recommended. They have a very small wait list as well, but see right above it, there's some 100 level.
Yeah.
You could kind of pick an alternate. Let's say that you're wondering what that religious studies 102 is about. I could, show them how to click on the title. It'll bring up a description. It'll bring up the instructor's name and their email address. If there's a prerequisite, that's where you find it. So if you click submit at the bottom,
there's going to be some stuff that I had selected from my last semester.
For your shopping cart, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. You can kind of see it's all there together. That's actually good. Yeah, you can see there. And then do you mind going back out to the main menu? Like student menu, yeah. So then next time Peter logs into WebAdvisor, let's say it's registration day, go to register, yep, just like you're doing, register and drop sections, and it's gonna one click take you right back to your list. Well, Peter, if you're pretending you're first year student again, what would you register for on August 1st? Like, what would be your top priority class?
Well, of what we just did, I would go for the thing that I'm most interested in. So if I was really interested in, I'd probably go for the major before the minor because those have more requirements. So if I was trying to go to art history, I'd probably register for European and North American art first.
Yeah. So on August 1st, you go in, click register, and scroll down there and hit submit. Because we're not gonna make you do that.
Okay, cool.
Let's say that your top priority class is actually the one with the little wait list.
Yeah.
You could wait list yourself. Yep. Add yourself to the wait list and register for a backup at the same time. You can. Because waitlisting is not the same as registration. It's not adding credits to your schedule. It's just literally putting you on a wait list for the class. Can we go back out and kind of repeat the steps and maybe look at general chemistry? That's a common one that students take, but with the lab, it's a little bit different. Okay, so we're pulling up chemistry. For students who are interested in chemistry major, biology major, the ones where you need to do Chem 110, you'll notice here that there's how many chem sections there? 4 sections of general chemistry lecture and 6 sections of chemistry 110 lab. Right? You need one of each. You have to register for the pair of them to make it work. And I usually recommend to students to put all the sections of lecture and all the sections of lab that work with your other classes, like all the ones that could work, in your cart. So they're there on registration day, and you can decide in the moment, which pair still has seats, which pair still works, and register for the 2 of them together. If you try to just do one or the other, you'll get a pair.
Hit submit, and then they're all right next to each other. See them.
This is usually where we kind of open to Q&A because we've walked through a bit of the basics, but we want to hear from you on, what you're confused by or what kind of nitty gritty you're curious about. Or advisors, if there are common things you want us to demonstrate or you demonstrate.
Maybe this is a good question for everybody. How many classes should we choose within our prospective major, and how many should we choose outside our interest areas as electives or gen ed classes?
I have that sample schedule up from the last webinar. You want me to just pull that up? Or you're talking more like backups?
Or just putting together a schedule, you know, kind of the bigger picture.
So I answered that question on there, and I think what I had put on there is like, there's no hard rules about what you guys need to do. We're always going to suggest like taking something in an area you think you might want to major or minor in. It'll give you a good idea of whether or not you love that major. And that fourth class can really be anything. So it could be a gen ed. It can really just be something that looks fun and exciting.
Yeah, and this slide right here from the first webinar, it's, you know, we say it's a sample schedule. Like Katie says, it really is just a sample, just a guideline. You know, it's just designed to give you some ideas. You don't have to get too caught up in it. And some majors, especially in STEM, are a little more prescriptive in the beginning. There's a little more that is kind of set right from the get-go.
I think it's also important to remember that with your words or numbers, and if you take a foreign language, that those are 2 gen eds. So you're knocking 2 out kind of with that. So the other 2 can be something totally different.
Yeah, we're also getting several questions. Are there certain classes that fill up significantly faster than others? What would be the ideal class to pick for first round registration? Do classes typically fill quickly? Yes, it depends is kind of the answer for a lot of those things. So there are certainly certain departments that are very, very popular and have limited seats available for first year students. Amongst the ones that spring to my mind are creative art classes tend to be really small because there's only so much studio space. And so they tend to be pretty small. So if you're really interested in a studio art major, that's definitely something you want to go for in the first round of registration. If you're interested in theater classes, they're similarly very popular, as are creative writing classes. Others outside of that are Bio 110 tends to be. Biology 110 is the beginning of the biology major. It contributes to environmental studies. It starts for pre-health. A lot of students really want to take that their first semester. So that can be really popular. I will say with all of these classes that I just mentioned, they are offered in the fall and in the spring. So if you don't get into something you really want to take in the fall, waitlist, register for something else, and prioritize that for the spring or another semester instead. Going for classes in your prospective major is definitely an important thing to do in the first round. And there are just certain majors that are a little tighter with class spots than others. So.
And this kind of goes with it. Someone asked, do we have to get our gen ed classes done our first year? And I hear that rumor a lot from students, or they assume they have to do all their gen ed in the first 2 years, which you don't. You have the only general education you have to do in the first year is core words or numbers in fall, and the other one in spring. That's also why we're encouraging you to try a major you're interested in, try academic areas you're interested in, because you have that time. You have all of your semesters at Lewis and Clark to finish your general education. And I find a lot of students fulfill categories almost by accident. They take something for interest and then they don't realize it fulfills a gen ed. So don't get too worried about that. Mm-hmm.
We're getting a lot of questions about the wait list. So I just want to touch on some of those. So if you go to use your priority registration. So on August 1st, if the class you want has filled up, then you want to wait list for something, that class, and then register for a class that has an open seat in it. So you don't lose your registration time by waitlisting first. But if you register and then try to go waitlist, it won't let you because you're already in 4 credits.
Four classes.
Yeah, Peter, do you mind pulling up the WebAdvisor and screen sharing again? There's a question about whether registering for something on registration day is actually registering for it, or just kind of adding your name to a list, which I imagine might be based on, I'm acknowledging everyone's coming from a different registration model in high school, and these terms might mean different things than what you're used to. Let's pretend it's August 1st. Peter, you're going to go in again click register next to a class you want to take, go down at the bottom, hit submit. Of course, if Peter tries this right now, it'll give an error message, but
Oh, okay. I was like,
it'll
I'm
give
not
an
trying
error
to,
message.
okay, cool.
You're like, wow, is this gonna work? No, it's not gonna work for you right now. But if you do that on August 1st, you're actually registering for the class. You really are. And if you scroll down to the bottom there, Peter, you can see the classes you're in, and it should appear as one of the classes you're in. In fact, if you go in right now and look at your shopping cart of first year student, you'll see core there because you are registered for core and you're already in it. And so the bottom of that list is your actual schedule and the things you're registered for.
I was just going to answer that. We had a lot of questions come in about the core class. So core is considered one of your 4 classes or a 4-credit class, and you're already registered in it, so you don't need to worry about it. If you're an incoming first year, you can even see your core placement in WebAdvisor right now in your class schedule. If you're a transfer student, core is a requirement that is waived for you, so you shouldn't see anything in there. And if you have any questions about your core placement, you can definitely feel free to reach out, but don't worry about core or registering yourself for core. It's already happened.
Yeah, we are getting a lot of questions about waitlist. And so I will say, excuse me, as long as on August 3rd, a little bit after your registration window opens, you are registered for 4 classes, your numbers, the rewards class, and then 3 more classes you sign up for. You can't really screw anything up. Like, that's the goal. As long as you're registered for at least around 16 credits, you're good. From there, if you add yourself to any waitlisted courses and a seat opens up, it just goes by first person, next person, and down the list for how to get a seat into a waitlisted class. If one opens up, you'll get an email. Then there will be time during new student orientation and then the add drop period to change your schedule. There's lots of times to change your schedule. The ideal thing is that you'll be in the classes you exactly want on August 3rd, and it'll be great. And from there, you can change it if it's not ideal. So, but 4 classes, as long as you've done that, you'll be okay.
Also, if you're on the wait list on the first day of school, go to the class. Like, it will really pay off, and talk to the professor, because it is systematic. But like, if the first 2 people didn't come on the first day and you did, you'll get in. I was in a class where I was like 10th on the wait list, but got put in because no one came to the class.
Yeah, and just a reminder though, like if you wait list for a class and it looks like you're number 1 on the wait list, that might not actually be the case. There's some classes where our continuing students may have waitlisted and that's hidden. So sometimes students get kind of bummed when they don't get that first seat, and it may just be that you're not actually number 1. So like Peter said, you can go to the class on the first day. I would also suggest emailing the professor, just expressing your interests and let them know you'll be there on day 1. You can ask them where you're at on the wait list. They won't always tell you, but it might be worth trying if you have your heart set on something.
Oh, I will also say, I will give a shout out for the many emails that we send over the summer. We, on registration day, will send out emails. And then we will also send out information about how the waitlist runs and how add drop and all of that all of that information runs. I know that these webinars, they're great, but you get a lot of information. And so if you're getting a little bit of information overload, the thing to focus on right now is putting together a schedule and the mechanics of registration, how waitlists run, the add drop period. That can be kind of a little bit secondary in your mind right now, because it's not the most important thing to focus on just for registration itself.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, sorry.
Well,
I just started answering a question about the number of credits needed to graduate. So it's kind of back to what you were just talking about with the schedules and stuff. So yes, you need 128 credits to graduate. Katie had the wheel up there where a third of them are gen eds, a third is your major, and a third is kind of elective. So each major is only 10 or 11 classes. The rest will be either gen ed or elective classes. I will post a link to the college catalog in the chat. That's where you guys can find the gen eds and which classes fulfill them.
I know some questions came in on the chat, but maybe I can request people retype them in the Q&A. It's a little bit easier to manage them in one place. So, I thought I'd screen share real quickly, actually, because on our website, so I went to the Getting Started in a Major or Minor to develop course list. For new students, this FAQ, there's a first year version and a transfer version. There's a lot of really good stuff here that they really are the frequently asked questions you get. So things about what courses should I take and just kind of reminders on some of these foundational things. Just know that is there. There's a lot of good info there.
Registration for music ensembles.
That's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah, could you please explain registration for music ensembles? From what I understand, there is an audition process. How does that fit in with course registration?
Oh, you want me to go for it? Actually, Peter, can you go back to WebAdvisor and we look at music performance? I think it might just be easier with the list up.
Yeah, actually, I'm registered for one right now, so I can show it if needed.
I thought we could
I'm not sharing.
I thought we could show the difference between one where you can register without audition and, I know some.
Yeah.
Are yours audition?
Yeah, jazz combos. Yeah, I registered, I emailed the professor, and then they'll tell you when auditions are, or you can just go to the music building and talk, and then you can add the class later. That's what I've done.
Yeah, so would you say I'm correct that most incoming first year and transfer students for their first semester, they're not registering for ensembles until maybe first week of class?
Yeah, I mean, that's just like, it's easier than having to drop a class. Like I would say go and then add it after.
So it's pretty common. So people shouldn't stress if they're not like able to add it on, August 3rd or able to get in.
Yeah.
But music performance is its own subject. Like when you search classes, it's a really long list. There's a lot there.
Yeah, and to follow up on that, another 1 credit thing that you may or may not want to add to your schedule in the fall is PE. If you you have to take 2 PE classes before you graduate. It's a very liberal arts requirement. And if you want to take a PE class in the fall, go for it. It would be a 1 credit class that would be something you can register for on August 3rd. If you're the kind of person that's like, yes, being in PE will make me feel better and healthier and I want it, then go for it. If you're the kind of person that's like, one more thing in my schedule is going to stress me out, just wait. There's no requirement you have to start that your first semester.
For Katie Lemon, we both clicked that we could answer the AP question. I can show it in tests and someone asked how they see their AP scores, which I think is probably pretty common.
And if you haven't had them sent, make sure they get sent ASAP.
In your student menu on the right, let's see if this is a test account that I'm in. So let's see if it pulls it. But you click test summary. And test summary will list your ALEKS placement, math placement, language placement, and then here it lists the AP scores. So that's how you can make sure that we received it.
Good job, Katie McFadden. 63 out of 100 on the ALEKS. Dang.
I haven't taken a math class in many years. This
is much better than I would have scored if I took it.
I think when I took it for real, actually, for a demonstration, I think I got like a 12. So it was okay.
It's okay if your first time. Yeah, the first time you take it, if you score low, it's okay. It's not a judgment.
Okay. Yeah, it's okay.
I will say the biggest thing with the AP scores too is that we need to have them ideally before registration, because if you get credit for an AP class, you got a 4 or 5, and you happen to register for that class, you can't get credit for both. So you'll lose those AP credits. So ideally you'll have them sent as soon as possible if they're not there.
This is a question from the chat, but I'm going to answer it. Do college teams compensate for the PE requirement? Yes, but I'll be a little bit more specific. So if you are on a varsity sport, people tell me varsity sports besides football for the fall. There's football, cross country,
Volleyball.
Thank you. Soccer. Great. All of those varsity sports, kind of the high season is in the fall. And so when you look for classes in WebAdvisor, you'll see varsity football, varsity soccer, varsity cross country. You can register for that and earn credit for being part of a varsity team. That's great. You're going to do it anyways. You should get credit for it. And if you are on the team for 2 seasons, then you can register for it both seasons. Keep on registering for it every season you're in. And yeah, you can satisfy your PE requirement that way. For spring sports, swimming, golf, basketball, track, obviously I know the spring better. Other things that might be in the spring that I cannot think of. I know you'll probably be practicing in the fall. You can register for that to be part of, like, as part of the team in the spring, and do the same, get your PE requirement taken care of through varsity. You'll earn it, especially rowing. God, the early morning practice.
This person asked, if we are submitting a college transcript through dual enrollment, how does that work towards getting credit? So if you have taken any courses during high school through a local university, college, community college, dual enrollment, running start, there's so many words for it. If you've taken coursework through another college, you will want to arrange for an official copy of your transcript to be sent from that college to our registrar's office. Even if that credit appears on your high school transcript, we still need an official copy of your transcript to come from that college specifically to our registrar's office. Once the transcript arrives at the registrar's office, our registrar staff will assess the credit and we'll send you what is called a statement of transfer credit or a transfer equivalency report. And it will essentially say which of your credits have transferred and how they have transferred. And your advisor will be copied on that as well. So once you see that email come through, you know that your transfer credit has appeared. And if you have questions about, what does this transfer credit mean for me and my degree, maybe me and my major or gen ed requirements, definitely feel free to reach out to your advisor. We can help you interpret what exactly that transfer credit articulation means.
Hey, Peter, do you mind screen sharing WebAdvisor? And we're going to demonstrate the gen ed filter.
Yeah, one sec. There we go.
Maybe I just identified with this question, but someone was asking about like fulfilling a PE requirement if you don't feel super sporty.
Oh yeah, also I can also attest to that. I'm not the most sporty person, but I loved my Zumba class, and my Zumba class was good enough that even though it was at 8 a.m., I attended every session.
Oh yay! Okay, so first-hand recommendation from Peter to do Zumba. Also, if you put in fall, don't put in, nope, leave that blank. But in the lower right under course type, there's a big, there you go. The big long list, but go to the bottom. At the bottom, you'll see all the gen ed codes. So it says CASGE, College of Arts and Sciences Gen Ed. That's a filter. So if you put on PE, yep. And then
hold on, actually, sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
While you're on that, can you bring that big list up again? One way that I really like, I like to be able to see everything that's offered. So if you're the kind of person that's like, you just want to see everything that's offered for first year students in the fall, I'll also give a shout out for the CAS first year students course type sort, because then that's all the information the search engine needs to run. And you can just, it's all of these course types are a way to like funnel the big list of all of the classes offered at Lewis and Clark into certain categories. So if you're like me and you like just seeing everything that's out there, go there. Okay, sorry, go back to PE.
That's a great one. Okay. And what you'll see on the list that appears is right at the top. There are some music performance 1 credit classes that count towards the PE Gen Ed requirement. So if you can't get into Zumba with Peter, you could do like a community choir or a drumming class. Like, you know, sometimes I have students who really appreciate fulfilling PE with those. Actually, if you scroll to the bottom, that's where you see the varsity sports too, isn't it? No.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah. So if you're a varsity athlete and need to register, you can look for that.
We just had a question about when can I meet with my advisor to talk about scheduling? Now. We've been meeting with students kind of all summer. If you go to the College Advising Center's website, there's a big box that says make an appointment. You can do that over Zoom. That will help you kind of navigate your decision making, I guess, for what classes you want to take. If you want to get into grad planning though, wait until like after the second week of the semester. Like, don't worry about it. Just get yourself settled, make sure that you're in the classes you want, and then we will map everything out. But just for August 1st and 3rd registration questions, I would make an appointment now.
Yes, and apart from that, for my advisees out there, I mean, it doesn't really matter who you see, but I'm also offering drop-in hours this week, next week. Well, I think a lot of us will be offering drop-in hours the day of registration. So if you have quick questions, or if you need troubleshooting, or if WebAdvisor is being a jerk, which definitely happens, you can share your screen with us. Peter's nodding like, yes, it does happen. You can share your screen with us and we can troubleshoot what's going on. So yeah, drop-ins are listed on the College Advising Center website with our Zoom links, the times. Please use them.
Yeah, and if the times that we have available don't work for you, email us and we can always try to find a time that will work for you, you know, earlier or later in the day.
I was just going to say, on the topic of email, send us your sample schedules. If you have a great class schedule and you want a second pair of eyes on it, send it to us. We would love to see it. We can offer suggestions. So feel free to do that as well if a meeting just doesn't work out for your schedule.
Yeah.
Oh, Peter, somebody wants to get involved with NSO. How do they do that?
Unfortunately, this year you cannot, but I encourage you to apply for either an RA position or the NSO position. I think you cannot do both, but apply for it it will be in the spring, go through a little process, then you can be a leader, and it's a great time. I've done it every year.
Well, and they can talk to their RA and their NSO leader and know, pick their brain.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a great question. It is not too late to take the ALEX. So if you haven't taken it yet, it's still open. Take it, go for it. Probably the number 1 lie that people tell themselves is, oh, I don't want to take it this summer, so I'll take it sometime during the school year. You won't. Nobody, people are really good at putting off things they don't want to do. And I speak from experience on this. So, if you just take care of it this summer, get that 53 or above, you will be golden. Your future you will be very happy with the current you.
Yeah, and for those who haven't taken it, I mean, that July 15th deadline, we really wanted the first attempt to be done then, because it would give you time. If you don't get a 53, you'll have to spend 8 hours in the learning modules kind of over the course of a week. And so it would have given you enough time to retest before registration. But you can take the ALEX exam, you know, even in August after registration if you need to for spring classes. And then we have another ALEX question that says, what happens above or below 53 on the ALEX? If you're a 53 to a 75, you can take classes that have the QR 101 prereq. 76 and above, you can take things that have the Math 115 prereq. So above 76, it doesn't change anything.
This person asked, is it possible to work a paid campus job as a first year? Yes. I will link in the chat a link to our HR website, which includes the link to Workday, which is our employment platform, even for students. But we have lots of student jobs on campus that are both work study and non-work study. It'll mention the designation in the job description. So just keep an eye out for that link. I'll put it in the chat.
I just looked at it today with someone who asked, and there are jobs posted already for undergrads, and you could check it out.
So this person asked, would you suggest that first-year students who need a math class for their major take that class in their first semester? I think that depends on what your major is. If it's a STEM course, there's a little bit of flexibility where you could take it in the spring. Same with things like econ, you wouldn't have to worry about it right away. To me, it's a use it or lose it kind of thing though. So it might be easier to just continue with it. If you're worried about your course load and math isn't something you love and you might struggle with it, then you can most likely wait until the spring, but I would reach out to your college advisor with more specific information about that question.
Actually, we've gotten a couple of questions about AP Calc in particular. This is one of those that I actually think I will share my screen, if that's okay, to show everybody that you can go into the catalog. You can search for the catalog. Here's the Lewis and Clark catalog. You can search for it on the Lewis and Clark homepage. You can go into academic policies and procedures and advanced standing and see all of the AP equivalencies and AP elective credit areas. If you have one of these, AP Calculus AB or BC, congratulations, because I think you're a genius. And you do not have to take the ALEKS test so long as we actually have received your scores. So Katie showed this earlier. Make sure that the score that you have is in WebAdvisor under test summary. And then you're good to go.
And we have more, sorry.
No, you go. I have something else afterwards.
Okay, so we have another question about the ALEKS too. So what happens if you get below a 53? So if you've retaken it a couple different times and you still can't get that 53, we have a QR 101 class. That's kind of our remedial math class. You have to have at least a 30 on the ALEKS exam in order to take that class. If you're somewhere sitting like 47, 48, they really don't want you in that class. So I would try one more attempt and really spend the time in the learning modules, like doing it and not just kind of clicking your way through it.
I'm going to say something completely off topic to this conversation, but there was a question about, can I get, or are there benefits for someone who has done research during high school? And I wrote an answer and I deleted it because I'm going to answer more about it here. So we can't assign credit for extracurricular experiences like research that was completed during high school, but that sounds like a really good foundation on which to stand if you want to get involved in research on campus during your undergrad degree. There's a lot of faculty research happening on campus. And as you go on during your time here, you'll definitely want to start, building relationships with faculty, learning more about, their own research they're conducting. And if there's involvement opportunities for students, a lot of that involvement just comes from, building those relationships, getting to know what is available on campus. So definitely stay in touch with your faculty. Undergraduate research is a fantastic way to build your resume, build your collection of experiences and skills during your time here, especially if you are someone who can see themselves going on to more school after their bachelor's. So definitely take advantage of that if that's something that even feels slightly interesting.
Okay, so then we had a question about what do you do if you don't really love math, but your major requires a lot of it. Katie, do you want to talk about the tutoring real quick? I mentioned in there that was an option, but I think it's a good way to.
I can. Here. It's a great question because that person's asking about math, but you might be asking about some other subject that you're going to have to take and you're feeling a little apprehensive about. On the homepage, you can go to academics and then academic support. And just 2 clicks from the homepage will take you to this. This page summarizes all the academic support resources in one place. We do have a couple different pockets of them, like tutoring and librarians and the writing center. So if you know what you want, you can click on it. But I think when you're an incoming first-year student, you might just say, I want support with, in this case, you might click tutoring. And for something like math, you have a few options. SOB tutoring is peer tutoring. We hire other students to work one-on-one. It's free for you if you'd like some tutoring. They're going to cover almost all like entry level, general education courses, including math. The Symbolic and Quantitative Resource Center is what it sounds like. It's a center. It's a place on campus, and they have really big hours. It's like afternoon into the evening almost every day. And a lot of students sit there and do their homework. But then if you get stuck, you can just raise your hand, and they have tutors kind of walking around to help. So both those resources for math would be great. That's one where I'm so glad you're asking that question and thinking ahead. I think a lot of students assume that, if they really were prepared for college, they wouldn't need something like tutoring, or tutoring's just for if you are way behind or something. But actually, a lot of students use tutoring, and a lot of students who are doing well in classes use tutoring. I think it can just be a really nice addition and make your work more, you can efficiently get through your homework and just be a little less stressed about it. So I just want to make a plug too that you really think of it as it's not something you have to really be struggling to access. In fact, I'd encourage you to think about it proactively is to start helping you make the most of your time.
We had a question that says, where can we learn more about our core class? I will post a link to their website. You'll go through and there's course description, like blocks for each section that you can read more about that. I met with a student today who wanted to change their course section. So that's also something that might come up if you were placed in a section. Maybe you didn't do the preference form on time and you need to make a change because of a scheduling conflict. You can reply to that email and reach out to Dawn Wilson. She's the only one that can do it. You can't do it yourself in WebAdvisor.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, the core class that you're in for the fall, it's just for the fall. In fact, all of the classes you're in are just for the fall. When it comes to November is when you will repeat this process and you will submit another preference form for your core class in the spring. You'll also register for a whole new slate of classes in the spring. So that's different from some high schools too, that you're not registered for the same classes for the whole year. It's just for one semester at a time.
There's a question just sort of about specific classes and difficulty. And I think once you get into that granular level of like, let's talk through this combination of classes. This is a good example of what I'd make an appointment with one of us for, or like email us kind of a rundown of the question. We're just going to be able to ask a few questions, just have like a richer conversation, and hopefully a more helpful answer.
I would also give a shout out. There's kind of a lot of webinars this summer, I know. If you have not had a chance to watch the STEM, the webinar about for STEM students, and you are interested in STEM, I would highly recommend watching that. That would be a good a good one to check into in terms of like a workload management, topic one.
Someone asked approximately how long is the ALEKS test? How much time should I expect to give it? It really depends on your level of comfort and experience with math. So each time you attempt to take the ALEKS, the test will remain open for 24 hours. So I've seen students take from 45 minutes to 23 hours. Obviously, you can take breaks and come back to it, but it just kind of depends on what your comfort level is at. So I would give it maybe a couple hours of your time. And I think after the first attempt, you'll get a good read on the types of questions that are being asked of you and how much time it might take you the second time around.
Yeah, I've had students tell me that the first attempt, they went in and just kind of clicked around just to know what was on the test. So when they took it the second time, they were prepared for it. It's certainly an option if you have the time to do that. We have a lot more questions about the ALEKS exam and what it is and what it all means. So the exam is used only to let us know kind of what your math level should be. Students at Lewis and Clark do not have to take a math class unless it's required by a major or minor, but you all have to take a natural science, and those natural science courses require students to have a 53 as a prerequisite. That goes back to what I was saying. If you don't get the 53, but you get a 30 or above, you can take that QR 101. So if you take QR 101 on campus because you can't get a 53, you then can take the natural science. The whole idea for the ALEKS exam, though, is to just get the 53 and be able to register for whatever you want.
I am putting the link to the webinars that have already happened. The recordings are already posted. I'm putting the link in the chat, and it also has links to future webinars, non-academic related ones, because we're getting it after August. It's more, start of school, NSO related. The academic ones I will highlight are definitely the STEM related ones for environmental studies majors, etc., biology, chemistry, health study, all that, etc. The music department one's really great. And also the Office of Student Accessibility offered a webinar. And if you had any sort of academic accommodations in high school, or if you didn't, but have some diagnostic learning differences, the Office of Student Accessibility is the place to connect with. They're really wonderful, and having academic accommodations set up before you start is really great. If you need to set them up when you get to campus, it's fine. But that webinar is a great place to, start learning more about them.
Yeah, and then another question about where can I find the full breakdown of how many credits we need in each subject to fulfill our gendered requirements. So in the chat, I posted a link to the college catalog general education requirements. There are tabs kind of at the top of the page. You just need one class from each of those tabs, except for the world language, where we require students to take 3 semesters of that. That might be 1 or 2, depending on where you placed. And then obviously your words and numbers, but every other tab, like bibliographic research and writing and all that, just one class, 4 credits.
And as the school year starts, we will also help guide you through some of our mechanisms for keeping track of all your credits. So we don't expect you to do that on your own. We have some really cool systems and tools to help make sense of everything that needs to be completed, to help you do some planning. We're not going to get into that right now just because it would totally overload you with information. But come the fall semester or sometime during your first year, check in with us and we can talk to you about some of those tools. It's going to make your life so much easier as you go on here.
Thank you for the group chat, love. That's lovely.
Yeah, Heather and Katie. Whoop, whoop.
I have a feeling it's because I keep on comparing registration to the Hunger Games, which maybe isn't the best comparison, but not totally wrong either. So
it depends what subjects you're trying to.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I just like comparing it to all the times I bought concert tickets, especially for bands that I love.
Yes, it is the way less fun Tay of the summer, for sure.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah. I don't know where the
someone asked where they
27
can
group
find
chat
that.
is. I don't know.
Yeah, I want to know where it is. Let's
Yeah.
join the group chat.
If somebody wants to put that into the chat, they're welcome.
Somebody put in the chat, help this person out.
Yeah.
How do they find the group chat?
Mhm. Oh, Instagram. Okay. Okay.
Oh.
They just search it.
I would imagine probably from the NSO account on Instagram, they might have some links to it.
Yeah, we need some more information on that.
Yeah.
I mean, at least we all know how to use Instagram. It's not some
mostly.
new social media for us.
I mean, I mostly follow accounts that have dogs on them, so I don't know if I really know how.
Matthew Hurd set it up. Matthew, if you're here. Yeah, see Discord. That's all out of my.
There we go. Aaron's taking care of it. Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah, great.
Not here. Okay, wait.
Let's see.
DM Matthew Hurd. You guys
Yeah.
want us on there? I don't think you want us on there.
We'll stay away.
Hey, can I just say something before like we kind of get close to the end here? I just want to say, as the summer goes on in the school year, like we are your college advisors from now until you graduate. And I really encourage you to reach out to us at any time you need if you have questions, especially if you're a first generation student. This process might be totally new to you, to your family. I'm a first generation student myself, so I remember how lost I felt in this whole process. It'll get easier this summer. You're learning a lot of new stuff, but it's going to get a lot simpler. But if you have questions about how to navigate some of these processes with registration or who to get in touch with on campus, if you need X, Y, or Z, feel free to reach out to us. We're a great landing spot for questions. We're really well connected to everyone on campus, from faculty to academic staff to student life staff. So please stay in touch with us from now through graduation. We're here to help you cross that finish line. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Yes.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, right now we can talk to parents. So if some of you are still in there and you have questions, it's okay if you sit with your child during the Zoom meeting to ask the questions, because sometimes we know the students aren't necessarily comfortable asking all of them. Once school starts, though, then we need a FERPA release. We can't talk to you after that. So now's your time.
Yeah.
Well, we answered 73 questions in 2 minutes to go. So I don't know. Is Luna around? Can she close us out? She's gone.
She's done. She's done for the day.
It's hot here in Portland, y'all, today. So Luna, yes, everybody needs, I hope everybody's somewhere that they can be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you were all a lovely and very engaged group. So thank you for joining.
Yeah, thanks so much.
If you have questions, go ahead and email your college advisor after we're done.
Yes, if you check your own
touch.
Park account.
There's one more. Hold on. What happens if my parents don't approve of my roommate?
Scandal.
Oh, no. I would, if it's obviously like a really big conflict already, then, and you're not comfortable with your roommate, then maybe reach out to Campus Living. Otherwise, I think it's something that maybe mom and dad need to navigate with you. And maybe you guys can reach an agreement with something.
Yeah.
There's a couple things. It can't be hotter than here in Phoenix.
No,
it is 93 degrees here, though. I love it. Yes. The rest of them are dying.
A delicate flower. I can't handle 95, but in Phoenix, I would wilt.
Yeah.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.